Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath.
The podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grunbaum.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hello.
Hey,
It's Polina.
This is Diana talking here, and this episode we're talking about Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes.
1998 film. This is my selection. I'm just going to jump right into
you should. There's a lot going on in this film.
A lot of people, a lot of characters. So straight from the internet, school's out, and an entire graduating class, from football stars and cool girls to complete nerds, gather at a wealthy classmate's home for a party. There, now start taking notes here, the artistic Preston, Ethan Embry, hopes to move in on Amanda, Jennifer Love Hewitt, the beauty he's admired from afar for years. So many thoughts on that. Dorky William, Charlie Korsmo, schemes to pay back meathead Mike, Peter Facinelli, for years of bullying, and would-be rapper Kenny, Seth Green, gets locked in a room with snarky Denise, Lauren Ambrose. Ready, go.
Oh my God. I don't know how you were. This was stressing me out, thinking how you could, how you were going to synopsize this film. I don't know if synopsize is over.
Well, that's just the setup and the people there, because where to begin with this cast, literally, because this is the 1990s who's who of, oh yeah, that guy. Yep. Oh yeah, she was totally on the blank, you know?
Yes.
And so that's okay.
I think you described it as a teenage Love Actually.
I didn't describe that, but that's interesting. It doesn't like intertwine the same way, because you can kind of see the connections to everybody. Love Actually, it just kind of slowly unfolds as
that's
it goes.
true. I mean, the connection is they're all in the same graduating class.
There is that, and also I think this is the 1998 generation's answer to The Breakfast Club, where it's just like, no.
It's like all the kids and their high school experiences, and it's a bit of a revenge, fantasy. Or like a high school wish fulfillment fantasy.
Well, that's one aspect story of their wish fulfillment. Well, okay, yeah, we have
like as somebody who's quite distant from high school. To me, what was satisfying about it, because I actually really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, not like life-changingly enjoyed, but this was a pleasurable movie, and I had fun watching it most of the time. And one of them is that, to me, it really was a satisfying high school, like, wish fulfillment fantasy genre. Like, the things that I wish had... There was something kind of cathartic about it, I guess.
I'm going to want you to hold on to that, because otherwise it's just going to be one really depressing, Diana so sad at watching this situation, because I'm just like, all right, I knew we were going to do The Lost Boys. And so I wanted to move out of the 90s and have it be a little bit more lighthearted. I'm like, okay, well, I pulled out my list.
You wanted to move into the 90s.
Oh, sorry.
Out of the 80s into the 90s. You were sick of me well, actually, you...
No.
We've been in the 80s for a bit.
We've been jumping. We went, from the 80s to the 80s. We were in the 20s that was actually filmed in the 90s.
Yep.
So let's try to keep it, confusing. So in this particular movie,
we never promised consistent. We didn't promise consistency, folks.
Allow me to set the scene, if you will. 1998. I'm 15 years old.
Yep.
So I'm right in the rush of, trying damn hard to, get all the grades, get into the college stuff. But the harder classes haven't started yet.
Yep.
So thumbs up. I'm still feeling pretty cocky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you're one of the smartest kids in the room kind of thing.
Well, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like I'm taking advanced this, that, and the other. I'm taking regular level this and regular level that, because they don't
Are you in Catholic school at this point?
I've never been in Catholic school.
I always forget. For some reason, I think you are, but...
No, I'm Catholic as hell, but I'm not...
Catholic as hell, but not Catholic school as hell.
No, my siblings went to Catholic school.
Oh, that's it. Sorry.
And I think
I don't just forget movie plots.
No, there it is. No, my
or names.
So, oldest brother went to Catholic school all the way to 8th grade. brother Patrick went up until fourth or fifth grade. They were in. They went to elementary school. It was half and half.
Yeah.
And I was put in elementary school the whole way through.
Okay.
So public school.
Oh, I remember this now. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
sorry,
there
I
we
didn't mean to go
so
down that road.
Yeah, there it is. So that was there. I went to public school my whole life.
California public schools, very good.
Depends.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate.
Yeah.
That ours was pretty good.
Yeah. Ours was really good too.
Yeah. I mean, not so much like the way it used to be.
Yeah.
But it never is.
Yeah.
So
there you were.
Well,
you were like feeling pretty good. You're feeling pretty,
Oh God, not at that age. I was never feeling pretty.
No,
good.
I mean like at least you're intellectually speaking.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see this in the theater. I saw this. I think I remember watching this on repeat later on, which was pretty interesting.
Was it during HBO access
preview?
free preview?
Don't know.
God, I loved HBO free preview.
That thing, that little booklet you got in the mail, that was so awesome.
Oh, I know. You're so excited.
Yeah. You know what? I'm having a hard time. I want to say that this was a Blockbuster rental.
Yeah.
On repeat. I did own it for a little while, but what was really interesting about this movie is, it came out when I was about that age, and it's also possible that I watched it when I was past the age. So like maybe I was watching it in college. I'm not positive. So it was very easy for me to just like snap on these characters onto me and just be like, this is who I was, and therefore I'm watching the idealized scenarios happen in real time.
So I don't know if you want to get there, but I have a question.
Yes.
My questions were,
yeah.
Who did you think you were at the time? And rewatching it, who did you think you were?
At the time, I thought I was snarky Denise, Loner and Ambrose, who got locked in the bathroom with Seth Green. And looking back, God, she was annoying.
Yeah.
And that was still me.
Yeah. That's funny because I thought, oh, you're going to ask me who I was in high school. And I totally picked Lauren Ambrose, even though I was like, I wasn't as snarky. I wasn't nearly, I was pretty snarky, but I wasn't nearly as misanthropic.
Well,
I was probably as annoying.
It just seemed really, I don't know, just the perception. It seemed kind of cool to just crap on your school.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, at the time.
Well, especially, they kind of make fun of it.
Melissa Joan Hart's character.
The Melissa Joan Hart's character is like this widely drawn, she's the one who's like super into school spirit.
Yeah.
And of course, she's like totally shit upon the whole movie.
Which is, yeah. And I was watching bits and pieces of it. No, I'm sorry. I was watching it. My husband was popping in and out, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this movie. He's like, well, is it tongue in cheek? Are they poking fun at these types of things? I'm like, I don't know, and I'm kind of worried.
Don't know anymore.
And he goes like, scale of 1 to 10. I'm like, 2, maybe.
When you watched it, because you were not obviously past high school. Why is a revenge fantasy or not a revenge fantasy? What's the word? I guess wish fulfillment fantasy is like.
There's that. So,
which I guess that's a bit redundant, but
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna try to run through this really, really quickly because there's so many damn characters. So you've got Preston, Ethan Embry. He fell in love with this, Melissa Joan Hart. Hello, Jennifer Love Hewitt's Amanda's. He saw her on the first day of school. I'm using air quotes right now. Been in love with her since the first day of school. She's been in a relationship with the jock Mike this whole time,
and he's barely. I just want to revisit.
Yep.
They've barely spoken.
Yes. Oh no, I'll get there.
I'm sorry.
Oh no. I'm just saying. Yes.
Run with it.
I'm aware. So he's his best friend is Denise. Snarky Lauren Ambrose. Redhead. Who's they're going to this party because, oh my God, Amanda's single. And he's going to go to this party tonight, and he's going to finally declare his love to her. And
he has a love letter he's been rewriting for 4 years.
For all these years, and she's snarky as hell, and I really appreciate it. But at the same time, you bust each other's chops, but at the same time, after a while, it's just like, why are you still doing this? Like, let it go. And also, as the female,
I had so many male friends like that.
Which ones? The ones who were
like were in love with some girl.
Yep.
They weren't, and they were friends. Like, one thing I appreciate about this, I was really worried that there was going to be the whole, it was going to be some kind of wonderful,
they can end up together.
Yeah, like, you look great in my future kind of moment. But
yeah.
they quickly, dispense with that, which was good because
Yes.
I like the fact that I liked their relationship. Like their relationship really made sense to me. And I also am like, I remember the moments that I remember were very much knowing guys like that like were in love with someone they never talked. It was more an idea than a person.
Absolutely. Oh, damn it. Just, they briefly mentioned that, Denise and Prescott? Oh shit, I already forgot.
Oh my God.
It's Preston. No, it's Preston.
It's
Preston, that they dated for like a week in 8th grade, and
Yep.
but then they became friends. I'm like, yay! And
I'm glad they said that. It was perfect.
Yeah.
That was a perfect way to handle it. Like they dated.
yes.
It's clearly just a running joke between them because it was 8th grade and they probably just like held hands and stares.
Doesn't count. Yeah.
Barely count.
And then they got each other's backs, and I really, really appreciate that. So he's gonna do that. There's this big party, and it's the cliche party of like everyone shows up and all this other stuff. But it seems like the girl who invited everybody.
That's the thing. It wasn't an accident. And then she's like her parents' house, very rich girl.
Damn it.
The super nice house with the nice things.
Right.
She's like thought it through. She's like, no one goes into the nice room. Nobody goes upstairs.
If she's that wealthy, why doesn't she hire people to, actually cordon off these places?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, yeah.
Also,
well, because she's also 18. She's never thrown a party.
Also, well, no, maybe she has.
The thing is, no one ends up hanging out with her. Like, she hasn't, that's kind of the running joke. Yeah. Is like, this whole party is a total nightmare for her because all she's doing is running around, playing hostess.
Literally putting out fires.
Yeah, quite literally. Yeah.
Yeah, and smelling for poop. That was bad.
That was bad.
Yeah, all right. So you've got Preston, damn it. Preston and Denise.
Preston Prescott.
So they go to this party, and then you've got the quarterback, or the jock who broke up with Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, and his whole thing.
They're like the kings and queens of the school.
Yeah, it's just like
homecoming
so
queen.
Gossipy and all this other stuff. But his thing is just like, dude, I'm going to be swimming in girls in college, so I'm going to break up with her now, so I can just like be free to do whatever. And what's
like, just wait until fucking August.
Well, there's wait until August, and then there's also just like, if it wasn't so selfishly put. He's got a good idea. This person I've been tied to my whole life. Maybe I'm just been in this relationship because it was easy. And oh my God, I'm defending the asshole. Never mind. Okay, no, sorry. No.
In a strange turn of events, Diana ends up.
No, first of all, he has a good concept. I'm going to be needing new people and new things are going to be happening. He's thinking it all about in terms of sex.
Yeah.
And whatever. Sometimes assholes can have good ideas, or sometimes, well,
even a broken clock is right twice a day. Well, that's another thing my father said.
Well, is it digital? and is it just blank?
This is much like unpack. Have you learned nothing about this? This is much like unpacking. It's just as easy to marry a rich man as a poor man.
Oh, yeah.
It falls apart upon close inspection.
Okay, done with that because I can't start unpacking that again.
No.
All right. So said jock has been tormenting William, who, Charlie Korsmo, that guy is fantastic in general, the actor, as far as I know, because I remember him from Hook, and I remember him just as like the young child actor for all this other stuff.
I did not recognize him.
Well, it's funny.
I also didn't see Hook.
He was in MIT when he was filming this. He actually is incredibly, I believe.
He was that was that whole thing was
the revenge thing.
That was the wish fulfillment thing for me.
Here's the thing. I think that at the time I appreciated in the spirit of Revenge of the Nerds, also in the spirit of Revenge of the Nerds, the problematic aspects of it. And I'm worried that I used that term incorrectly because people like to take words like self-care and problematic and microaggression and run with it. But here's something that I'm going to say. Polina, I appreciate that Mike tormented William for years.
Yes.
And William is finally going to get revenge on him. I do
using nothing but his smarts.
No, he has a couple of friends helping him. His smarts involve chloroforming Mike.
Yes.
Having one of his buddies there as well, knocking that guy out, taking their clothes off, putting them in lewd positions to imply a homosexual relationship.
Which would therefore ruin his life.
Problematic. Yes. When I heard that, I'm like, oh my God.
Now, at the time, I think this was pretty, like this kind of thing.
Well, I had to have it pointed out to me as well. The movie Heathers, I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. The two jocks being humiliated because they were found in a compromising position.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm just...
Though, I mean,
I know Heathers is meant to... Never mind. I'm not even...
No, but I totally agree. We're totally doing Heathers, by the way. For anyone who's wondering.
Fine. When I was younger, I did appreciate, the father at the funeral in Heathers. My husband's a homosexual and I love him. I love my dead gay son.
Yep.
And
I love my dead gay son.
Yeah, and I'm just like that. I should not.
I mean, that was a real thing. I mean,
no, that is a real thing.
When I was in high school, like that was people like went to the art program and like wrote fag on all the artwork.
Oh, see, that was the other thing. That was also okay. So I was playing that. I'm like, how do I adequately let people know the word that was used in Can't Hardly Wait, because I don't want to say it because
Should I not have said it?
Well, that's just the other thing. I don't know if I should say it, even if it is in the... I have long discussions with my husband about this. Mm-hmm. Should we use this word? Should we use this word? Are we giving that word power? You know what? I don't want to...
it was a...
I don't want to... How about this? As the word has been said, I'm going to keep going back to the word, the three-letter gay slur word. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call it that.
Okay.
I'm going to use as many...
Is it? Like, I don't know about that word. I have no idea.
Is it a slur?
I think it's definitely a slur.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know if it's one of those we never say it word.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Well, I said it.
There it is. That's the other thing, by the way. In the end, William gets so drunk that he can't exact his revenge in the way that he thinks to. But Mike decides he wants to take Amanda back. She decides she learns so much about herself. And she learns so much about herself when she realizes her friends are kind of self-centered. Yep. Everyone is just trying to perpetually grope her. And she realizes that maybe she should be on her own.
Yeah.
I will get to the next piece of that in a minute. Mike decides, after talking to all of these people, his friends who don't want to break up with their girlfriends, and a college guy played by Jerry O'Connell, which I like him a lot. No, all these girls in college are serious, man. Girls are just like, want to talk about sophisticated shit. And yeah. Oh, sorry. Ecomological shit.
Ecomological. I love it. Ecomological shit is one of my favorite lines.
So he decides to run back to her, and it's just like, I decided I wanted to take you back. And she's like, no, I don't want that. And there's this little confrontation. Ultimately, William gets to see Mike humiliated in front of everyone, and somebody calls him said word that I'm not sure if I should be saying. And I'm just like, I feel so uncomfortable right now because this movie is old, but it's like this is contemporary.
But did you see it at the time? Like, how did you see it? I mean, I think. Taking everything aside, a lot of high schools were like this.
How did teenage me take this?
Yeah, but like, and teenage me, did teenage you think about that at all?
Teenage me thought, suck it, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. Because I sided with the nerd.
I mean, actually, when I went, I didn't think about that until after the movie was done either. Like, I was just like, oh, well, this is just a trope. It's a terrible, horrible trope, but it's been an ongoing trope.
Well, what doesn't help is that when we get past all of this type of thing, they have the little scrolls at the bottom, a la Animal House, where these people ended up. And even though Mike is humiliated, William's plan goes astray, and he is the one that ends up getting chloroformed and put in these pictures with Mike, and so he ends up in jail. But oh my God, according to the police officer the next day, William was forced to drink alcohol until he threw up, by Mike.
That Mike told that story.
That Mike told that story
to
get him off the hook.
him.
To protect William,
with his parents, because he probably met his parents and realized, oh my God.
Yeah. Here's my question: why is he not in jail? Why is the guy who claimed that he fed someone copious amounts of alcohol to the point where he passed out? No, I totally did it, officer. I just gave him like all this alcohol and everything like that. Why is he not in jail right now?
I don't know. I thought the same thing.
Okay. You're looking at me like, what are you talking about?
No, I totally thought that. But it's one of those weird things where you're like, oh, in the course of this movie, it's this lovely act.
I need to calm down. It's just angering me so
anyway,
much.
But okay, so problematic.
Can I get to my last piece, by the way, among all these people? Oh, no, I'm not even... Oh, my God.
I know there's so much of this movie.
No. I'm not even done with the problematic stuff yet. Okay, so Denise used to be friends with Kenny. Kenny puts on the persona of a stereotype of an African American in the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe these things.
Well, no, he was doing that, like, which was, fairly common in the 90s.
Like the Eminem thing?
He's kind of like, I'm from the hood.
But more stupid?
Yeah, he was like trying that thing of like trying too hard to be quote unquote from the hood, even though they're living in suburbia, which is like a funny thing and is definitely a thing I saw a lot in the 90s, knowing like...
Well, see, that's just it though, where it's just like, is it tongue in cheek? And I'm like, well, I think they're showing that which was real, but I don't know if they're doing it...
in a tongue in cheek way.
Are they doing it tongue in cheek?
I think they're doing it. I mean, he looks like the whole point is that he's an idiot, right?
I hope so.
And when you watched originally, when you were closer to this time.
But that's not even like the biggest problem I have. It's Kenny and Denise. They bring out this little side story about how they used to be friends when they were younger. When they got older, she finally unloads on him that, you're the one who stopped talking to me in the 8th grade. You're the one who decided that because I was in the smart classes and I was from a poor family, then I wasn't cool to hang out with anymore. And there's this thing, and they unload on each other, but then they bond over the stuff together, and they end up hooking up in the bathroom.
Yeah, they're trapped in the bathroom.
They're trapped in they're trapped in the bathroom. That's why they have this conversation. And one of the things that was really rough for me was they have sex, and she asks him, "Is this your first time?" He's like, "Yeah, it is." She's like, "Have you done this before?" "Yes, I have." And when it's done, it's clearly awkward afterwards. Yeah. Awkward because it wasn't good. And so she talks to him about it. She's like, well,
she's trying to make him feel better.
She's trying to make him feel better. He gets angry about it, starts
because
to blame her
I think to him
it.
It was awkward, but maybe he's not sure why it went bad. That was my take.
Well, I'm not really sure what the point of that was, so much as he slips back in his whole, yeah, baby, whatever. And I'm like, she gets mad and she storms off. And because the girls' party, the party's been broken up by the police long at this point, and he chases after her and he apologizes. And I think what bothered me about that, she goes, "I'm sorry too," and I'm like, why are you sorry?
Well, yeah,
okay.
That their whole interaction actually made very it just doesn't. I get it. Like I get it in theory. I get why when they're selling the script, it made sense because in the end, he does get what he wants. So basically, he's this guy. Everyone is like, oh my God, you're trying too hard. He's everyone thinks he's a joke.
Kind of is.
And he is a joke. And I'm a big Seth Green fan. I love Seth Green.
Oh, I love Seth Green too. He looks the same age.
It's weird.
He has not aged.
It's also weird because I kind of have a crush on Seth Green.
How is that weird?
Well, no, that's not weird. But in this movie, I was like, do I no longer have a crush on Seth Green? Because he did not... I got nothing. I felt nothing. I was just like, ugh.
It was probably his hair.
I'm like, either he's an amazing actor because he's made himself that repulsive to me, or maybe my crush on Seth Green has, kind of...
Run its course.
I'm not really sure. We'll find out.
Okay.
I'll have to rewatch Buffy or something.
Now, just on the basic level of the last part, Preston.
Yeah.
Amanda. That was what I liked the most.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Which of
that was the relationship thing that I liked the most. Looking at it through the adult lens now.
Yeah. What is it that's icky? Okay.
They've never spoken. You said it yourself. They've never spoken. He writes her a letter. There is this really great actual tongue-in-cheek movie called Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah.
Where there is said character. I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt plays her in this this movie. And then Lacey Chabert, the Party of Five connection, she plays her in Not Another Teen Movie. And it's... I don't like gross out humor, and there is that in that movie, but I think the gags in this movie are worth the gross out humor. Yeah. And it was also my introduction to Chris Evans, who plays the Freddie Prinze Jr. a la She's All That character. Yeah. And it's so great. But Lacey Chabert is the one, there's always the music playing, there's also always the wind blowing in her hair.
She always looks like she's there's kind of a slight Vaseline on the lens.
Yep.
Especially when you're dealing with her hair. I finished watching Party of Five a few months ago.
Wow. Random.
Yeah, totally random. I picked it up. I always sometimes I watch shows just to fall asleep, something comforting. and Party of Five was fairly comforting. And I'm like, oh my God, she's the same friggin' character. Like she does. There's something undeniably charming and
Is this
draws you
Lacey
in.
Chabert or Jennifer Love
No,
Hewitt?
sorry, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay. I will make a
she's
comment.
She's the same character, like, except that she's a little more together, but the way that she kind of plays outraged and the way she talks is exactly the same. And yet it works on me every time. I'm
going to make a possibly controversial observation.
Go for it.
Jennifer Love Hewitt's performance in this movie feels Bella Swan-esque a la Kristen Stewart.
Really?
I felt it so hard.
That's interesting. So you just felt like she was just kind of cut off and strange the whole time?
Well, I guess you could put it that way, but it just felt so much like, I'm like, she feels like the Kristen Stewart of her time with the whole like...
yeah, there's... yes, oh my God. There's a lot of head movement.
And like the strained face of trying
There's so much strain.
Trying to emote with the pauses of like, I'm trying to think. But
it's weird. It's
check
like
it out.
It's like the night. Yeah,
feel it.
No, but you're right. Okay. I thought what you were saying, the Kristen Stewart thing, was that I just was like, she's kind of not here, but
in the
actually, like, or in the, she's definitely not in the room.
You know, Kristen Stewart could have been in that movie.
Kristen Stewart could have been
considering the number of people who are in this movie. That
yeah, she easily could have been in this movie.
Yep.
She might have been offered this movie and was like, no.
Age-wise, no, but I still think it's possible.
Anyway, but yes, I see. You know what? I totally see it. I thought you meant something completely different, but I completely agree with you. It's that weird, like, slightly constipated.
I'm gonna keep doing like. So, she gets so the big confrontation scene between Mike and her. William gets his revenge in a side way. She leaves. She finds the letter that Preston wrote, and
this like. Crazy way.
Well, I don't.
That's kind of Rube Goldberg.
Yeah,
it was like
in a trash can, hit somebody's shoe with gum, and then it went on a keg, and then somebody with a hockey stick decided to play with a broom and shot across the thing and ended up in the Chex Mix, and then she managed to catch it out of there. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think that I didn't know the details of how it actually ended up in her hands? So here's the problem with this. She reads the letter. She realizes, she goes looking for this guy, doesn't even know what he looks like. Big confrontation happens. She leaves. All of a sudden, these guys just start swarming her. Never mind the fact that her second cousin by marriage was trying to like.
Oh my
date
God,
rape
that
her.
was the weirdest.
Okay. So there was
so
that,
strange
and
confusing.
then also after all of this, just like, oh man, I saw what just happened. So like, do you think I can like, take you out and make you forget all about Mike? Oh, walks away. Oh, hey, Amanda. Just like, and then this was in the trailer too. Oh God, you're a hottie. Can I see you naked? And then walks away. Amanda, just really sorry about what happened. Just remember when we were in the, 7th grade dance and I just had this biggest boner. What the hell are these guys doing?
Yeah.
And then Preston comes stumbling
I mean, that's
in.
when I'm like, this movie to me seemed like a broad tongue-in-cheek,
well,
thing.
apparently they want to put tongue on her face.
They do.
And I understand that.
And elsewhere.
And again, it's just like, to me, it's just like, I was not prepared for this. I think like, no, this movie wasn't like the American Pie movies. This movie
I
was
see.
like
so
this.
your movie, so in your memory, it's a sweet
It's
thing.
sweeter.
And then you watch it and you're like,
No.
oh, it was really much lewder than I remember
right,
it
because
being.
because again, with
Kind of like me with The Lost Boys, where I was like, I don't remember this being a horror movie.
what's with all this violence?
God, there's just a lot of blood for a vampire movie.
Let's go back to the vampireness, but
I'm
but of like the sweetness.
I'm like, can't we just? Can't everyone just be looking in each other's eyes?
Yeah,
kissing.
Their vampire eyes.
Their vampire. Anyway.
So no, the parts that I remember that with my notorious fast forwarding was the Preston pined. Oh my God, she's available. Oh, I lost my chance. Oh no, it's all about fate and all this other stuff.
So did at the time the Preston thing was not.
At the time the Preston thing was really sweet because where is my Preston? But the thing is, imagine
who's really seen you all this time, because that's the whole thing, is that unlike everybody else, like the love letter's like. She reads it and she's like, oh my God, someone actually sees me.
Yes, he literally sees you and that's it. Do you interact at all? He fell in love with you because you had the same Pop-Tart that he did. No, Pop-Tart.
I know. No, but the letter, I mean, this is what's funny, Pop-Tart. Is the letter is it's so weird because the letter is all about how like, oh, he really knows her, he really sees her, he really like, you know, and she's like, yes, this is what I want. I don't just want to be like
arm candy.
Arm candy, yes.
And she does mention
but
that.
then the Pop-Tart is a great detail because it is so ludicrous. Like basically he's like, everything is a sign that he should do something.
Like Barry Manilow on the radio talking about Mandy.
Mandy.
Yeah, which is a nice gag in the movie. Something that Ryan had pointed out when I was trying to explain to him my outrage about all this kind of stuff about the Pop-Tart, he goes, yeah, I was an idiot in high school too.
I definitely that part with the Pop-Tart actually made emotional sense to me.
Holy
because
crap.
I remember, I mean, not now, but if I'm like watching it, remembering, I just saw this movie for the first time. Because this movie, you know, I was sort of just out of my...
You can take this movie at face value, which is entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm taking this as an affront to my psyche.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you watched it as a model. Like, I mean,
I worship the idea of, one, I can pine, and then when my opportunity strikes, I will be rewarded.
Yes.
And the other side of that, where is my Preston?
Yeah.
And the weird thing is that I got a Preston.
Yeah.
But I got like kind of morphed Preston. I did get a letter when I was in college.
Yeah.
And it was the most uncomfortable thing I'd ever felt in my life. Because
I had the same thing.
No. We just met in that class like a week or two ago. And in the letter was actually, I love you. And I'm like, ugh.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I just kind of give it back to him. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm just like, oh, no, I'm sorry. And that's all I could do.
Guys, tip. Wait a bit.
Learn my last name first.
Talk.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Yeah.
I had a few of those. I found out like my... Well, I mean, okay, not like they were pining for me for 4 years, but like a few kind of, you know, random like, oh, I had people that I can see that you're just basically, you have so little experience that you're trying to construct this fantasy in your head. But I had the like person who wrote me a letter, and I did know them better than like they knew each other. And I didn't feel the same way. But I also had like mini Preston. I was mini Preston too. I mean, I had my moments of like,
I was absolutely Preston.
Where it was just like that person from far away and it just didn't work. There was a guy had this huge crush on, and we had a project together. And then I got and we were like sort of moving toward like clearly it was obvious we kind of both had a crush on each other. When we did the school project together, and it felt like a teenage romantic comedy, but then I got grounded, so I couldn't hang out with him. And instead of like just, you know, how long are you ever grounded for? It's not like I was grounded for 6 months. I was grounded for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
If I remember correctly, if you're grounded, it's forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, that's what it felt like. But I'm like, why didn't I just say to him later, like it was 2 weeks, but then I was too shy or too freaked out, and I was like, oh, I've missed my chance, instead of like, hey, I'm really sorry, I was grounded, like, you want it, but if I said it, then I would have had to admit to him. And what if I would have had to admit to him that there was something going on that we'd have to re-pick up. But I couldn't, because then what if he didn't feel it and I was wrong? What if the signs were wrong? It's like such a weird time. You're
reading things that may or may not be there.
Yeah, you're clinging to scraps, man.
Oh, you're clinging to Pop-Tarts.
You're clinging to Pop-Tarts. Yeah. Crumbs.
Crumbs of Pop-Tarts.
Crumbs. Strawberry frosted crumbs.
Ew. Well, I don't like sweet anyway, so it doesn't matter. No,
if you were like, you know, some...
What?
Bread, if you both take out your lunch of bread and butter.
Oh, if he had brought out a baggie of goldfish, I've been all over that.
I'm more of a Bugles girl.
Bugles, not so much. I don't know. They didn't really sit right with me. So here's another thing that's kind of I was Preston too. I had my thing.
Yeah, I think we're all Preston.
But one of the things that I thought was really great, there was one guy I remember pining over for years in school, and one of the things that I was really proud about, because we interacted back and forth and had similar classes. I don't know if we were in the same class, but we had similar classes, so we could still compare notes. Sat by each other at lunchtime, and it was pretty interesting. I got to the point where I asked him to junior prom and everything like that. That was me making my big move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And?
His mom said no.
Oh my God.
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, no.
That's all I'm going to say.
No,
that's all there is. I wanted to bring up that little piece, and then I'm just like, no, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. I did not expect that.
You're right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
I'll respect your desire to move on.
Yeah. If you really want to know that badly, at contact@HEAMCast.com.
And I do. I will be emailing you at that address.
Oh, okay. So I was Preston. I had my long-term crushes. I had random letter given to me, really uncomfortable. And I think that's why I reacted so badly as I did, is that...
You're like, wait, this is just like Can't Hardly Wait.
Well, no, it's not even that. No, as I was watching that, I was just having the reaction to it and all this other stuff. And I just, again, it's so easy for me in my going on 7-year marriage, over 15 years
to be
together.
Like, oh my God,
what
people
is
are acting,
wrong with you kids? It's get, from my vast years of
but there is something. I mean,
of a long-term relationship.
Having of
my one long-term relationship.
Well, it's successful, so you got that.
In progress.
It's but I kind of now. I mean, I think back and I look at the teenagers that I know, and I'm like, and I see, there's like the one or two people who are sort of like that. And all their friends think it's sad too. They're like, you're not actually into this girl or this guy. You're into it's much easier to deal with this fantasy
of someone who's already taken.
Of someone who's either already taken or is never going to respond because they've already said no. To construct this whole thing in your head and never ever deal with a real person.
These are teenagers that have come to this conclusion?
No, well, they're teenagers who've they've come to this conclusion on behalf of a friend of theirs.
I don't give teenagers enough credit. If I were thinking the teenagers were part of this, it would be, why don't you love me?
No, they're like, just like, dude, seriously. It's not going to happen. Like, maybe you should, pursue some other... Maybe you should stop embarrassing yourself and move on. I mean, just like Denise, his friend, said.
Right.
It wasn't like Denise thinks this is mental, but, she's accepted it as part of his psychosis.
I'd also like to point out to Preston a couple of douchey things he said when he was with Denise. Number one, he keeps making fun of her. I'm like, why are you ragging on your friend for being in a relationship that she's kind of uncomfortable with? And she's not even necessarily in a relationship. Her exact words. She's like, I don't know. She's hanging out. What the hell? Why is that a problem? Why is that any
Well, because she's embarrassed by it too, because he's kind of this class joke.
And he decided to run with it and make a joke as well. Be a good friend, damn it.
But he also that's such a big part of their relationship is kind of teasing each other.
I'm going to claim this is the last thing I'm going to complain about, but
I don't think it is.
Here it is. The other thing he said in that relationship, she's like, because, the good friend, the thing with Amanda, how did it go? And he just kind of slowly shakes his head. And she's like, well, you gave it a shot. You're like, yeah. Still would have been cool to make out with her, though. Re-quoting it, I'm thinking that's just him trying to laugh it off again. Because she
feels so bad for him.
Okay. So you know what? Rereading, I'm just like, okay, this is meant to be self-deprecating, but at the same time, all of this stuff of just like, oh, they're trying to make a joke because these guys are going after her in such a hard way. I'm like, well, don't make the nice guy be kind of a dickhead too. And yeah, again, that's okay. I'm calming down.
Okay,
I'm calming down now.
So do you feel like when you watched it was a sweet thing, and then rewatching it, you're like, oh, ew. And you feel a little bit like you know, kind of this model that you had is sort of sullied a little bit.
I don't know if it's a model because it was more of a mirror. So it wasn't really so much that like I responded to the fact that like I'm going through this as well at the time when I was watching it as a teenager. But getting older, it's just I don't know, maybe I'm ultra responding to the horrificness of my own actions at that age. Because who doesn't look back and cringe at some of their decisions?
God, yes.
You know, I pined over this guy for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just did not go well. And even after the no, I tried again. Junior year. Oh, no. Different dances,
God.
all this other stuff. And I kept trying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I kept trying. One of these days, he will be mine. I don't know. I guess it's the fact that I was trying to come up with something that there's something there that's not.
How do you feel so much and have someone else feel so little? Like that, I think that was like the thing that I could not understand. Like if I can generate this, well, no, I mean as a teenager as the Preston.
Oh, as the Preston.
As me, Polina, as the Preston.
You know what's kind of strange?
What was confusing was.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, when I look back on it, I think that the crux of what was confusing was how is so much emotion generated from one side? How is it even possible?
Where did it, now that I think about it, where did that emotion even come from? And I think my version of that is that we had such like similar temperaments and we were both kind of like academically inclined. So therefore we're perfect together. Mm-hmm. We're nerds.
Yeah.
That counts, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it does.
Yeah.
I mean,
so there's that. So let me think about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can try to analyze all of the relationships, but
I say we pick the ones that
so
I'm just really spoke to us.
Okay. So Preston and Amanda.
Yep.
I don't need to guess. He fell in love with her. Actually, you know what? I need to think about this for a second because he's fell in love, and we were talking last time. He fell in lust with her.
Yeah.
It's, you know, he claims love at first sight. I have a hard time with this because he has morphed this artificial image of her that's strictly, you know, from a distance. Mm-hmm. So I think
he is in classes with her, and it doesn't seem like the biggest school. It's not.
500 people in the graduating class.
Oh, that's what they said.
Yeah, because she was trying to get all 500 and blah blah blah.
Oh, I forgot 522.
Yeah,
or something like
very
that.
Nice,
yeah.
very nice. So no, it's a freaking big
graduating. Yeah, that is a big graduating class.
Yeah, so she's never going to make that goal, by the way.
Oh God, no. No, because there's like all the people who like
didn't walk.
Yeah,
didn't make it through. Didn't attend.
I mean, there wasn't 500 people at this
graduated
party.
Early.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, it's not a very practical goal.
It wasn't also that big of a house.
No.
So it
was a very large house, but it wasn't that big.
That was not a 500. That was not a 500 seat venue.
No.
So, okay. So Preston, I think he fell in love with this. He fell in teenage love with her instantly. And I think even though it said they are still together.
So when they said that, they said at the end, they said they're still together. Like after so he's leaving the next day for this thing with Kurt Vonnegut. I was like, what the hell?
It's a workshop.
It's a workshop with Kurt friggin' Vonnegut in like the 90s. I don't know. That just like, I'm like, that is a crazy, crazy fact. Mm-hmm. I had no idea Kurt Vonnegut was like.
Haven't you seen Back to School? He's in that movie.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you about it.
Anyway, okay, we'll have to do that.
Go see Back to School.
It's madness. So, and you know, yay for Kurt Vonnegut for nurturing young talent. But so they go, and I think it looks like it's in Union Station in LA.
Okay.
And she finally tracks him down, and they have the kiss in the middle of the, you know, everyone else is going around them and they're just kissing. And he gets on a later train and she writes him a letter every day. And then he says they're still together. How many years is that?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, if you're looking at all the other, where did people?
While.
No. Where did other? So there's you know, text of where everyone ended up. So William ended up going to Harvard, being the most popular kid at Harvard. I don't know how that works. being the most popular school or most popular kid at a university that is gigantic.
Yeah.
And he's like worth $40 million as a millionaire and dating a
And
supermodel.
dates finally gets
yeah. So they're talking about like, well, if he was a tech millionaire, he's like 27.
Yeah.
So maybe 27. So there's that. Denise, it only talks about like the next 3 days of her and Kenny. And then Mike loses his football scholarship after getting drunk or something like that. And then
probably getting someone else drunk.
Probably,
and then finally getting arrested.
Damn it. Well, no. And then he loses his job at a car wash after the photos come up again. So I'm going to push that away.
Yeah, let's push that away.
So it actually doesn't go too far in the future. So even theoretically, like 5 years, but making it through college years in a relationship,
that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive as well. So I'm going to say it was around 3 months in. 3 months in together, she writes him, they're corresponding. This was before the Skype times. Yes. So they're corresponding, they're on the phone. She
says a letter.
She did write him a letter every day, which is kind of sweet. The question is, though, did she send them? And I don't think so. I think what she did is she wrote them, and every time they were back together again, she would give him a stack.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he would like read them when he went back. And so he would read them slowly. Or, I take that back. She wrote future letters to him, and then you opened this one up on this day and this one up on this day. And so I think I like that a little bit better. I'm going to say they did that. I'm going to say she kind of slowly learned to get to know him better instead of just this person who sees her for who she is. She actually gets to know herself as well. And that was something that she had mentioned as well. Maybe I should just be single for a little while. I never really knew who I was because I was always in the context of Mike's girlfriend. Well, now she is away and she's able to have a relationship, but because he's away, she gets to know herself as well. And from there, she gets to grow. And from there, she also gets to have the anchor that she probably needs. I think it's a crutch. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing because sometimes when you're damaged, you need something to help you along the way. I'm going to say that there was a real connection 3 months into this correspondence. That's why she kept writing a letter to him because he was a good thing for her. The situation was a good thing for her. I'm going to say they made it through college together.
Okay, and then?
And then she was undecided on what she wanted to do on the yearbook blurbs and whatever. So I'm going to say...
she's not going
undecided,
to college.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. So she's just there pining for a year?
No, she's not pining for a year. I'm going to say she went to the local community college and started dabbling in a couple of things. Preston's a writer, and so she decides that she's going to be a nurse. And she decides that she wants to do that. If you're thinking that they're in the LA area, nursing is a very in-demand profession.
Yeah.
So she decides to take the caregiving route and decides to become a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think they stay together and
I
get
think
married?
he's very supportive of her, and she's very supportive of him. And I'm going to say this is going to peter out after 5 years together.
Okay. So right after college. Like in the real world.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to cover two. I actually want to cover...
Oh, right.
I want to talk about Kenny and Denise.
Oh, yeah. Let me get your thoughts on that. Because, I can... Go ahead.
All right.
Do your thing.
So, I think Kenny and Denise, I think what's going to happen is, I don't think they're ever going to go out date. I think what's going to happen is they're going to spend the summer being together, like basically experimenting with each other sexually. And wait, that sounded so creepy the way I said it.
And airing out
sexually.
And airing out some old grievances.
Yeah, I think they're gonna work. I think they're gonna be working through some old grievances. They're going to be, but basically, and they're gonna be like the person that every time they both come home from college, they're gonna be they're gonna hook up. And I think it's gonna be good for them, both of them, because I think that they'll be able to sort of like explore their the things that they're into in a safe way, that they're like these people who trust each other, that don't have to worry about impressing each other. And I think they're going to be friends, like buddies for life. Like, I think actually at some point he is going to like, he may go into music, maybe become a producer or something.
I can see that.
And yeah, and she's going to become really successful at what she's doing. And they're going to kind of support each other from, you know, from the sidelines in a really casual way. But it's like going to be a long-term, you know, childhood friend, invited to the wedding, see each other, you know, at Christmas. Maybe they live in the same city and they, you know, get together and, you know, go to each other's parties and introduce each other to people. And they're, you know, they're going to be sitting at parties and people are going to be like, well, how do you get to know each other? Oh, we've known each other since we were 4. So that's going to be nice. Like, I think that, and I think she's going to help him, he's going to help her realize that, you know, she doesn't need this brittle shell. And I think, you know, she's going to help him become more comfortable with who he actually is. So I think that's going to be nice. I have like high hopes for those.
You have,
but I don't think they're going to, you know, they're not going to get married and have children and live happily ever after or anything. I think they're going to kind of, you know, they're never going to quite be together.
Oh, okay.
But that's nice. Like, it's a successful relationship. They're going to have a successful relationship.
So she's going to be like, he's going to be the Preston to her Denise.
No.
In the scenario of the later years, because they're friends and they do this thing. But you're thinking that because there's the romantic component, but not romantic. There's a sexual component.
I think it's like a sexual component, but like not, you know, not no, like in a really positive way for both of them.
Gotcha.
Like, this is a place that they can explore kind of their sexuality and what they like, discover what they like without the pressure of having to, you know, kind of please someone else and figure all that out. I think that's going to be really positive. So,
there you go.
And I think that, and I don't even know if like Denise and Preston are going to remain friends. I think they are going to kind of, they're going to be friends for years, but I think they're going to be, you know, Facebook friends after a while.
You know, I don't know if they'll necessarily be Facebook friends after. Well, yes, they will be friends on Facebook. Actually,
yeah, but I mean, like,
I can't see Denise being on Facebook.
Only on Facebook.
I don't think so. I think it's not going to be like before, because circumstances are going to take them in different directions. But I really think that it's going to be like the same way I'm friends with my college friend Chris. I'll see him about 3 or 4 times a year. Yeah. And it's just like long periods where we don't see each other, but then one of us will call the other one.
3 or 4 times a year is pretty solid.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, but I think that that's the way it's going to be. Okay. And the thing is, we've been doing this for the last 10 years. Yeah. We used to have a traditional thing where we would every October we would go to this corn maze. Oh, and we did it 10 years straight, and then, you know, life happened and things got hard, but we still see each other. Like,
that's real. I mean, that's good. That's like 3 or 4 times a year as a friend.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's gonna be like that, where it's not like they're gonna be like, you know, knowing each other's everythings, but they'll talk, they'll say hello, you know, they'll do random texts to each other, but you know, it'll be like the whole big catch up thing. Yeah. So I love this. I'm more fixated on Preston and Denise than anyone else.
Yeah. Well, so. I this is what I think will happen to Preston and Denise.
Preston and Denise or Preston and Amanda?
Sorry, Preston and Amanda. Okay. You're right. I'm totally more into what'll happen. Yeah. Now I'm like, wait, what is going to happen to Preston and Denise? Yeah. I like your scenario.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, these are people who are, you know, close. So I think that Preston. So I think that year. I think it's going to be a really, really heady year. But I think that ultimately, I don't know if I give him 4 years or 5 years. Okay. I think I'm going to give him. So I think that first year, and then I think they're going to he's going to go to college, and he's going to start feeling like he's like, you know, deep and brooding and understand, you know, understands more than she does. And he's going to, I think he might actually turn on her in a little bit, because he'll start acting like she's a bit shallow, and that maybe her interests, he's not as interested in writing. And he's going to be in a writing program. He's probably going to meet other people who are, into that stuff.
Did it turns out if
or
he hadn't
into writing?
Is it turns out if he hadn't been
That stuff.
in a relationship when he went to that Vonnegut workshop, he would have been able to meet this totally amazing girl who was also into Vonnegut?
No, I think
he's not going to get bitter about it.
No, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
Because this is like the culmination of his fantasy life.
Okay.
Like, I think he's just not going to be able to see any other girl.
How amazing.
Like, I think he's going to have that thing of like, I can't see, I don't mean date, but I mean, I can't really, like, they don't register. Like, it's going to be all about her. And that's why those letters every day is going to, it's like, there's not going to be any time for that passion to die. And I think that, and he'll have a lot of, writing material, and I think it'll be a really amazing, and I do think he's going to treat her really well. I think ultimately, I think he's going to screw it up. And I think, she's going to be like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. And I think it'll happen. Maybe not a year. Maybe, I think I'm being too cynical. I'm going to go with 2 years. I think 2 years, and then that last 6 months, he's going to be like, wait. And it may be that when, the next time they're away from each other, it's not going to be the everyday letter. It's going to become a little boring it's going to become a little more, quotidian. And I just think it's hard to recover from the fantasy of a girl. And I realize that doesn't jive with what, like, I agree with you. If we look at what time frame they're talking about, I realize this doesn't quite jive with it.
Well, unfortunately, as much as I got so angry at this movie, I still was trying to give them a happily ever after, even if it was something that ended. And I was like, no, they're going to go like a few years.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be a total disaster. No. I think she's going to realize it pretty quickly, because I think he's going to become... He's going to probably insufferable for a little while. He's going to go through an insufferable writer phase.
Oh.
Like, self-involved, thinks he's deeper than anyone.
But she's used to that. She dated a football player.
Yeah, but this is good. But this is the guy who's not like that. Like, she knows she doesn't need that anymore. So I think then she's not... Like, I don't think it's going to be 3 years of him doing it. I think she's going to break up with him, though.
Okay. Interesting.
Because he just won't.
I can feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see him not wanting to give up that which he has wanted for such a long time. Oh, wow.
But he'll kind of push her into it.
That made me sad.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Oh my God.
I think that ultimately, they're like, he got what he wanted. I don't think it's tragic. I'm not going to go with tragic. I always got him get so cynical. But I actually I do not feel like the length of a relationship is a sign of how successful it is.
No.
I think you can have very short, very successful relationships.
No, that's actually something Dan Savage Love talks about.
Yeah, he talks about that too.
Like, when it comes to marriages, the way to a successful marriage, unfortunately, is death.
Yeah.
And that's
the way out. Yeah.
Well, no, not the way out, but a successful marriage ends.
Yes.
Is death.
Yes. That is the only... Yeah. Otherwise, it was not a success, which is kind of
which
sad.
He doesn't really like.
Yeah,
so.
I don't agree with that either.
Right. So, talking about relationships and everything like that, something so exciting that happened. We got an iTunes review.
We did.
From... So amazing. This is so great. It's actually from Best Forevers. The host of Best Forevers, a podcast for kindred spirits. So Elisa left us a review, and it's so great. I'm just like, she says, I love Happily Ever Aftermath, and it feels really uncomfortable reading that, but this is what she wrote, so I'm just going to keep going with it.
Okay.
So as someone who loves movies and teaches about relationships, I cannot think of a greater combination of things, but if you add in Diana and Polina, that's even a great combination.
I love that. That's so nice.
I love their friendship. I also really enjoyed the new angle on the movie they discuss in each episode, and appreciate the commentary about what we, society, learn about relationships from movies, and also how the movies relate to them personally and their relationships. And I cannot wait to see what they do next. Elisa, thank you.
Thank you, Elisa.
I
did it.
I told you.
I know.
So, and so it was amazing. We got to meet her at LA Podcast Festival, and what's even better is that we got to record little bits and pieces. So
yeah, with people. We met so many really great people that were not only supportive of our podcast, but were just the most fun people to talk to. And we got to geek out over weird little things.
Podcasting community was amazing.
Community. And so we're going to, and just we met some really great people, some of which we communicated with on Twitter, or mostly Diana communicated with on Twitter, to be honest.
I run the Twitter.
And she actually reads her Twitter. And
it's great is that Elisa was also one of the people we got to talk to.
Yes, and we actually got to all hang out, which was so much fun.
And also, our next episode, topic-wise, it's not going to be a movie, but it's going to be interviews at LA Podcast Festival, which is going to be really cool. So that's going to be what's coming up next.
And we talked to some great people, and we got some really, really good stories. So... and I'm sure you'll come away with a ton of new podcasts either that you'll want to listen to. Yeah, so including Best Forever's podcast.
Right. A podcast for kindred spirits.
Podcast for kindred spirits.
Love it so much. Okay, so that said, about our Twitter, you can follow us at HEAMCast, Happily Ever Aftermath Cast.
Yep. And on Facebook at Happily Ever Aftermath.
Yeah. And then, like I said before, contact at HEAMCast.com. And if you want to be someone who gives us 5-star reviews on iTunes, the way to do that is to give us a 5-star review on iTunes.
Just do it.
I know it's my understanding that there's some like stipulations about what you can and cannot tell people to do about the rating system, and I agreed to that. So I'm just going to say, you are capable of leaving us a 5-star review. Apple Podcasts. It's called Apple Podcasts now.
Go to Apple Podcasts and we'd love it. We'd love it if you reviewed us.
So thank you so much again.
Thank you.
That's it for now.
Yeah. So so Can't Hardly Wait. If you are, you're at home, it's on Showtime right now. If you're at home, this is a good, I have a cold and I'm slightly, it's in that category.
Well, here's the deal.
And I'm slightly hungover movie.
Well, if you're going to direct them to Can't Hardly Wait, I am going to redirect them to Not Another Teen Movie, where all of this stuff that we're supposed to take is tongue-in-cheek. Watch the movie where it's actually tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
It's a lot funnier.
Okay. I've never seen any of those, just another whatever.
Well, that one, I don't even know where to begin, but for some reason that one I enjoyed.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. Not great, but I enjoyed it.
Well, now I want to see it.
Okay.
All right. Well, have fun.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.